O Allah, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can change, and O Allah, grant me the wisdom to know the difference between the two. This prayer is a powerful reminder that in life, you should always focus your energy on the things within your control and accept those things that you cannot change. Now, before we move any further, I want you to recognize the difference between what you can control and what you cannot control. So the things you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, your attitude, your mindset, the effort you put into your goals, the way you treat others. So in other words, everything connected to you are the things that you can control in this life. The things you cannot control, other people's actions, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, unexpected life events, events of the past, events of the future, natural circumstances, weather, aging, the economy, etc., etc. In short, those things that are not attached to you, those are the things that you cannot control. And by focusing on what you can control and accepting what you cannot, you ultimately free yourself from unnecessary suffering and unnecessary worry. Life is full of uncertainties, and we often do find ourselves trying to control situations, trying to control outcomes, or even people as well. However, one of the most valuable lessons you can learn is to let go of the things that are beyond your control. Holding on to these things, holding on to these aspects can lead to stress, anxiety, and frustration. Letting go, on the other hand, and saying to yourself that I leave these matters in the hands of Almighty Allah, because I have no control. Oh Allah, you do. If you are able to do that, that in itself brings a certain level of peace, resilience, and emotional freedom. Continuously worrying about things beyond your control can have detrimental effects on your mental and emotional well-being as well. It can lead to chronic stress, it can lead to anxiety, and of course it will even impact your physical health as well. So worrying about the uncontrollables diverts your attention from the present moment. Worrying about the uncontrollables hinders your ability to enjoy life and make meaningful progress towards your goals and towards your spirituality. And that is something we must most definitely try our best to understand in the month of Ramadan. Some things we can control, some things we cannot control. If you try to control the things that you cannot control, you will put yourself in unnecessary stress. And if you are able to shift your mindset, you will enjoy reduced stress. If you are able to let go of those things that you simply cannot control, you will decrease the levels of stress that you may encounter in your life. You will enjoy increased periods of peace of mind. Accepting those limitations brings a sense of joy and a sense of happiness, a sense of emotional freedom. You will experience enhanced overall well-being, redirecting your energy towards the things you can control. It definitely promotes a healthier and a more positive mindset. And of course, if you are able to do that, that in itself will enhance your problem-solving capabilities. When you stop fixating on the uncontrollables, you can now better allocate your mental resources to find solutions for the challenges within your own control. And I wanted to share with you this. It's a very famous analogy. There was once a professor, a psychology professor. He walked around his classroom full of students holding a glass of water with his arm stretched right out. So he asked his class, his students, how heavy do you think this glass of water is? So the students, they started to shout out guesses ranging from anywhere between 4 ounces to 1 pound. The professor then replied, the absolute weight of this glass isn't really what matters. The weight of the glass isn't actually what matters. Rather, it is the amount of time that I hold onto it that makes the most impact. If I was to hold onto it for, let's say, about 2 minutes, it doesn't really feel like much of a burden. If I hold onto it for about an hour, the weight of the glass becomes more apparent as my muscles begin to ache and begin to tire. If I hold on to it for an entire day or entire week or month, as the case may be, of course my muscles will cramp up. I'll feel absolutely numb and paralyzed with the pain, making me feel absolutely miserable and unable to think about anything else aside from the pain that I'm in. In all of these cases, the actual glass, the weight of the glass, will remain the same. But the longer you clench onto it, the longer you hold onto it, the heavier it begins to feel, and the more burdensome it becomes. The class understood this first point. The professor went on to continue. He said the glass of water represents the worries and the stresses that you carry around with you every single day. Those things that you try to control, that you simply have no control over. And if you think about them for a few moments, a few minutes, and you put them aside, it's not that heavy a burden to bear. But if you carry them around a little bit longer, you will start to feel the impacts of the stress. If you carry your worries with you all day, all week, all month, all year, a time will come when you will become incapacitated, prohibiting you from doing anything else positive with your life. So the challenge is, don't carry around your worries with you everywhere you go, as they will do nothing but bring you down. Put down your worries and your stresses. Don't give them your entire attention while your life is passing you by. Quite simply, let go of the things that are out of your control. Almighty Allah has created us in such a way that, He has control over so many things. He is the controller of our lives. And it is important we get our minds right. Our mindset should be وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ, that I am entrusting my affairs to the Almighty, because Almighty Allah is the best disposer of my affairs. And the month of Ramadan teaches us that particular concept. Entrust your affairs to the Almighty. Get yourself in the habit of saying, Oh Allah, I am not in control, you are. Oh Allah, I cannot do, you can do. And oh Allah, I am in need of your guidance. So oh Allah, you do, and you guide me towards positivity, guide me towards goodness, and protect me from harms and dangers. Within the medical profession, they will tell you that chronic stress has been called the silent killer. Why? Because it compromises your immune system, and it's a major contributor to some of the most persistent and chronic diseases in your life. It's also a fact that in our day-to-day lives, it is becoming increasingly harder to avoid excess and constant stress. Too many of us live our lives carrying around and holding on to stress and stressful situations. We become physically, mentally, and emotionally drained and stagnated, and our systems run on basic low. And then when our focus is on the stresses of life, what about our spiritual growth? What about our personal growth? What about the attention we should be giving towards our spirituality, towards becoming better individuals upon the face of the earth? All of these important aspects, they eventually get thrown to the wayside. So my message this morning is quite simple. Stop focusing on how stressed you are, and remember how blessed you are. And that is a very, very important mindset to change. Don't focus on how stressed you are. Focus on how blessed you are. Because worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It only takes away today's peace. And as you go through the course of the month of Ramadan, it is absolutely imperative that you remember most of your stress comes from the way you respond, not the way life is. And if you can make that shift, if you can adjust your approach and adjust your attitude, then all that extra stress is eventually gone. And always remember, 99% of the things you worry about, 99% of the things that consumes your mind never ever materializes and never ever happens at the end of the day. And in chapter 2, verse 286, Almighty Allah reminds us, Almighty Allah does not place upon a soul a burden that it cannot bear. And sometimes the best thing you can do in life is to not think, not wonder, not imagine, not obsess, and of course not worry. Just breathe and have faith and know that everything will work out for the best. So today I urge you, hand over your worries to Allah. For indeed, He is the best disposer of all of your affairs. And this is a lifelong process, a lifelong practice. But with patience and self-awareness, it eventually becomes easier. When you release your grip on the things that are beyond your control, you free yourself from suffering and you open the door to peace, to inner peace, to joy and inner strengths. So ask yourself today, what am I holding on to that is no longer serving me?